Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface with an impromptu AzChats. This was not planned in any sort of capacity. And I was just crawling into bed last night, about 9:30. I'd had a really busy day, put out 4 videos, pretty long lengths as well, 33 minutes, 10 minutes, another 10-minute one, and 15, 16-minute one. So I've been working really hard yesterday, and I was crawling into bed about 9:30, and then the news broke about this Tom Chilton interview at Gamescom. Now, I can already sense a lot of people have just gone, yes! Yeah, I'm going there. I am really, really going there. But first things first. AzChats are more podcasty type of a video as opposed to a visual video. Therefore, there is nothing to see here today because it's impromptu as well. Just an image on the screen. If you want to sit here for however long this goes on for, normally around 30 odd minutes or so, and just stare at this pretty picture that I've put up here. I've got no idea what the picture is yet. Could be fluffy bunnies, for all I care. Then feel free to do so, but you can get as much out of this video if you just leave your computer, crank up the volume, and go off and do whatever you need to do around the house. Have a bath. Get in the bath. Use my vocal beauty as a radox to unwind and unknot your shoulders. And just do something like that. But yeah, because it's an impromptu, no visual feast for you to look at on the screen today. I'm not going to pull any punches here today, folks. You know, I've thought about how I should phrase stuff, and I'm just going to go balls down. I'm just going to go all in here. You know, I'm going to speak from the heart. I normally speak from the heart. Sometimes my head hates that. But I'm going to speak from the heart on this Tom Chilton interview, and some of it's going to come out pretty harsh. I'm sorry, but it is. So, as ever with AzChats, there is most likely going to be fruity language. If this is a general statement, by the way, right now, if you're going to impart a member of your staff with vital information which you want them to share with an audience, then for the love of Batman, give that person some personality. One thing with Tom Chilton is the guy just doesn't come across even remotely charismatic. It's not a personal stab at Tom. It's just the way that I see it. When I listen to an interview from somebody, when I like to see a presentation on stage, I want whoever is giving that presentation not just to give me information, but to entertain me. We're in the gaming business here, folks. We're in the entertainment business. The whole point of games is to entertain its audience, is it not? So if you are going to provide information, then please, for the love of God, do it in a manner which we can get on board. The way that Tom Chilton responds to stuff, he could be telling me that my WoW character is going to get head-to-toe legendaries and that Scarlett Johansson's going to knock at my door tonight with a bunch of freaking jelly and saying, I'm going to fill the bath up, I've got some cream, and we're going to have some fun. The way that he could tell me that, I would be bored off my tits. I'd be like, you know? Whew. And I just want to kind of like bring a couple of other people into this. QuakeCon last year, I watched 2 very different presentations on 2 games I was very interested in. I watched David Georgeson talk about EverQuest Next, and I listened to somebody who I can't even remember the name of now because they were so fucking dull, talking about Elder Scrolls Online. Now, I had no prior knowledge of EverQuest Next, and I had small knowledge of Elder Scrolls Online. And David Georgeson came on that stage and he owned it. He owned it. He was so enthusiastic, so upbeat. He believed in everything that came out of his mouth. There was no ifs, buts, maybes, kind ofs. I think Tom Chilton is sponsored by the word maybe. I was fully on board, and by the end of that presentation with David Georgeson, Sony Online Entertainment, and EverQuest Next, I was like, I want to play this game. I want this game now. He did such a great job. And then we had Captain Dullard giving the presentation at QuakeCon for Elder Scrolls Online. And oh my god, I was almost suicidal by the end of that. It was just such a drab, dreary, boring presentation. The game came across as dull as dishwater. He didn't seem to believe what he was saying at certain instances. He was expecting the crowd to go wild or the crowd to get involved, but he was so dull. It ended up just being really awkward silences. It was like, yeah, and then we got dual-handed weapons, people. Tumbleweed flying past. It was just embarrassing. It was the worst presentation I've ever seen for a game, and I left that thinking, oh my god, they've ruined the Elder Scrolls, and it turned out to be true. Because that game came out and it was shit. But yeah, you know, it's how you give. And I know this interview with Tom was sort of on the fly, so to speak. But put it this way, what came out of his mouth was just depressing. Absolutely depressing. Now I'm going to skim over some of the information relatively quickly, and then I'm going to get to the big one. Which is the reveal of the final boss for Warlords of Draenor, and obviously there's going to be spoilers. So if you don't want to know any of that, this is not the video for you to listen to. If you do want to know this kind of stuff, and you do want to hear my point of view on it, which is just going to be, like I said, as frank and honest as I can possibly give it, then this is definitely the video for you. So first things first, let's just skim over some of the informations. PvPers. Unlucky. I mean, I've made my thoughts and feelings about Ashran pretty clear. If you haven't seen my Ashran video, I might stick an annotation up on the screen now. Go and watch it. But Ashran is this it was going to be instance. It's not currently, but it will be instance. Instance World PvP Isle off the northeast coast of Tanarn Jungle. That Blizzard have been touting as Alterac Valley 2.0, which in effect is bullshit because it's not even Warsong Gulch 0.5. Never mind Alterac Valley 2.0. It's absolutely freaking tiny. It's the size of a postage stamp. You got the two faction hubs on either side of it, which make A, no sense, and B, are actually bigger than the freaking island, probably, if you put them together. That's the sad fact. They talk about all these things about going off the beaten track and doing these quests. They're not off the beaten track. They're 2 meters to your left, 2 meters to your right. And then you go off and you get a bunch of overpowered abilities and you screw the other team over. And it comes across about as fun as a poke in the eye. I've played it. I've tried it. I think it's awful. I think it's got no potential in its current format. And I think it's going to be a nightmare. So when Tom Chilton turned around and said, PvPers, there are no battlegrounds in Warlords of Draenor. No new battlegrounds. I actually felt sorry for PvPers. Which is, I used to love PvP. I gave up. Because I just think it's just terrible now. Absolutely terrible. The balancing, everything, they just turned it into an absolute farce and mists. Really did. And so when he said, yeah, no PvP battleground and they don't have any planned, doesn't mean there won't be one. You know, we did get one in Mists eventually. Well, actually, no, sorry, they released with 2, didn't it? And then we got a third one. So at least they put 3 battlegrounds and new battlegrounds in Mists. But no. No battleground to start with, and currently non-planned. They're putting all their chips on Ashran, and I think that's a massive mistake because I think Ashran is going to be as polarizing as it can possibly get. Pretty sure there'll be people that love it. I am pretty sure a lot of people are going to detest it. A one-lane Zerg fest with OP abilities does not equal fun, in my book. Especially when we have complete imbalances when it comes to both faction balance and server balance. No matter how much they try and say yes, but we're going to marry these zones together so there's an equal amount of people playing, that never works. Never works. It never works. It's artificial. You can't say just because we've managed to get 2 zones together that have an equal population, there's going to be an equal population playing on Ashran. Doesn't mean that at all, and it's not going to be. So one side's going to get all the OP abilities, zerg through to the other side, and the other side are going to be like, well, fuck this, because this is bullshit. And that is Ashran through and through. I think it's a really ill-conceived idea. If it was Alterac Valley 2.0, if it was the size of Alterac Valley Alterac Valley currently, it would have oodles of potential. But when it's the size of a postage stamp, with one lane, battling over flags, OP abilities, is just tripe. And on top of that, no spectator mode either. That was also announced, no spectator mode. That's not a massive thing for me. But one thing that Tom did say, which I found very surly indeed, was he said, you want spectator mode? We have it. It's called Twitch. Ooh. I thought that was a bit off, the way that he kind of said that. I don't know if he's thinking he's funny or being funny, but, you know, I just thought that was a bit off. We call it Twitch. You know, oh, right, really? You know who, that guy from Xbox that said, oh, you want to play a game offline? We've got something for that. It's called Xbox 360. And the guy just went, oh, right, so you're telling people don't buy an Xbox One then? No. You know, it's kind of coming across a little bit as that one of those sort of faux pas. One of those foot-in-mouth disease moments that a lot of people get. And Tom got it right then. Flying... in Warlords of Draenor, again, they give us conflicting information. What we've had so far is there's going to be no flying in 6.0, and in 6.1 there will be a quest to get flying. They then changed that, and they said, well, actually, we're just going with no flying, and we're going to see how it goes. I'm a personal believer of no flying full stop. And then they said recently, oh, no, things are probably still looking like no flying in 6.0, and then we're going to bring it in 6.1. And now Tom Chilton said, no flying, we're going to see how it goes, we're going to see how the audience gauges that. So it's just like, can we just have some official stance on flying? Is it coming in 6.1? Is that the current plan, or is it not the current plan? Can you just give us a little bit instead of conflicting informations constantly? Yeah. Just a blue post on flying. Can we have an official stance? Personally, I think bring it in on the very final patch of Warlords of Draenor, when it doesn't matter anymore. Very final patch, bring in flying. You know? Bring in flying then. But until then, there's really no need. Flight paths are pretty good. They need a little tweak here or there. But flight paths in Warlords of Draenor are really good. Very quick. Definitely very quick. Seem to get you from where you want to go to the location pretty darn quickly, without minimal fuss. Sometimes you go off the beaten track a wee bit, but it's not huge. Normally it's just one flight path extra link. But yeah, even from a garrison to Nagrand, I seem to be there in absolutely no time whatsoever. And then you get to be at ground level and appreciate everything at ground level, which to me gives the game a whole new perspective. I want to play the game on the ground where all the action is. I don't want to play the game in the fucking air where I miss all the action and I swoop in and I do whatever I need to do, pick what I need to pick up, kill whoever I need to kill, and then get the fuck out of Dodge again. That's not how I want to play an MMORPG. Immerse me. Immerse me in the universe that you've created here. No flying, for God's sake. Please. There's going to be another legendary quest line, very much like the cloak. This time it's going to be a ring. I've got no problem with this, and there's also going to be a weapon come in. So it looks like there's going to be a legendary for probably mythic raiding, and then the legendary that everybody can get. And like I said, I ain't got a problem with this at all. But what I will say is I've just come off the phone with my friend Stinky Fishhead, or aka Camel Toast, and we've just been chatting about various things to do with WoW, and we're discussing the legendary questline because he's debating whether or not he should resub to get the legendary cloak before Warlords comes out, and he said something quite poignant, which I thought was really good. Because, of course, Blizzard in this legendary questline had shit like 6,000 Valor points for a test of Valor. They changed it to 3. But I did it when it was 6,000, and I've just got to say, you know, about 2 weeks into that, I was suicidal. I really was. It's just like, the thought of logging onto the game and trying to grind Valor was just, oh no. So stuff like that is just shit. It's just really boring, really dull. You know, the collection of 20 of them, 12 of them, really dull, really boring. And he just said something which was really, really cool. And he just said, instead of them trying to, like, trick you into staying on the game longer, you know, by collect 20 of them, get 6,000 Valor, get 12 of those. He said, why don't they just make it fun? And it's just such a simplistic statement, and yet at the same time it's just totally correct. Stop trying to delay your audience into playing the game to get more subscription fee, and actually make what they're doing fun, and they'll just stay anyway. So I thought that was quite cool. Yeah, so as long as I make the Legendary Ring fun, and by fun I enjoyed the elements of the Legendary quest line where we had the scenarios, the single-player scenarios. I don't believe scenarios work as a three-person concept. And it looks like Blizzard also now shared that philosophy, because there are not going to be any level 100 scenarios either. That was another thing that he announced. Scenarios have been integrated into your leveling process, and they are single-player. I think that's a right move. Well done for that. That's one thing I will give you a thumbs up for. So, you know, I enjoyed those single-player scenarios, doing whatever I was doing. At the Thunder Forge, going around doing my test as a DPS head, doing my test as a healer, doing my test as a tank. You know, I enjoyed those elements to it. There needs to be a lot more of that, and a lot less of collect 20 of them, stay on the game for 58 weeks to get Valor Point. You know what I mean? That kind of shit needs to go. More interesting, you know, a weekly scenario. A bi-monthly scenario. Something that progresses it that way. Turn it into just a completely story-driven legendary quest. And then maybe integrate it slightly into raiding and whatnot. But just make it, you know, prominently story-based. So you feel invested. It doesn't feel like I've just gone through a grind process to get the legendary. Think of it as going through a journey. A beautiful, story-driven journey to get my legendary. And I think that will go down a lot better with your audience. So there we go. And like I said, yes, they are going to put a weapon into the game as well. I can see that linked more to Mythic raiding. It might be any raiding, but I see it more probably linked to Mythic raiding to give top-end raiders something to really go for as well. So there's going to be multiple legendaries, at least 2 legendaries in Warlords of Draenor. That's not a bad thing. One for all for one, and all that kind of jazz. And then we have the discussion about content and the regularity of content. And again, Tom was just so non-committal about this. They have no plans. This is the horrible thing. They have no what seems to be solid plans as to when the patches are going to come or what's going to be in the patches. The Ogre Isle, we don't even know if that's coming in. That was like a maybe again. Well, maybe we'll do that. And stuff like that. It's just like, oh my god, he was just so non-committal with content. It was worrying. It really was worrying. Couldn't tell us how many patches. Couldn't tell us what was going to be in the patches. As yet, they don't know. And that was just like, oh my god. Oh my god. Who let you say that? You know, if somebody's asking you about future content and future support when we're coming off a fucking joke of an expansion where you haven't given us shit all to do for 14 months and you want to fucking turn around in an interview about your game and say, well, we don't actually know how much content we're going to put in it and we don't know when we're going to support it and... Somebody needs to slap him across the face fucking hard. Really hard. It was just a horrible, horrible thing to hear. I wasn't amused, as you probably just gathered from that rant. One was absolutely not amused by Chilton's response to content. I think World of Warcraft is in massive trouble at the minute. I legitimately do. They're at 6.8 million subscribers, down from 10 million this expansion. That's 32% of the customer base, a third of the customer base gone. We don't know whether or not they're going to get people back before the launch of Warlords of Draenor. There's definitely going to be hype after we've seen the opening cinematic and the launch date. So there's definitely going to be hype. There's the opportunity for some people to resubscribe. I'm pretty sure lots of people hit their credit cards last night, got back onto Mists, and were just like, ah, fuck. Oh, God. This isn't Warlords, is it? I've just resubscribed to fucking... and then thrown the pens down and gone off and done something else. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that some people out of love, out of excitement, out of hype, resubscribed last night. Be interested to see how many. But we don't know what Warlords is going to start with, numbers-wise. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it starts with 8.5 million. Just for argument's sake. It starts with 8.5 million. If you've got no solid direction about how often and what you're going to be supporting your game with, that 8.5 is going to be fucking 6 in no time. And then it's going to go from 6 to 5 to 4 to, wait a minute, Final Fantasy XIV have now overtaken us on subscriber numbers. You know, it's going to be something like that. And World of Warcraft is going to lose its dominance within the MMORPG marketplace. Yeah, the game's 10 years old. Yeah, you might say, well, it's 10 years old. They've had its day, mate. It's had its day. But still, there is such a lack in the marketplace. There's such a missing element in the marketplace for a really good MMORPG. That's why World of Warcraft has stayed so popular for long. And it's not because the content's probably better than other games, because to be quite frank, it isn't. It's because it's had so much investment in time by so many people that they're frightened to move probably to another MMORPG, because they've got a 6-year-old warrior, or they've got an 8-year-old warlock, or they've got a 2-year-old paladin. You know what I mean? They're frightened. Wait a minute, I've put all this time and effort and money into this game. I don't want to go off and play Final Fantasy. I don't want to go off and play Guild Wars or WildStar or Elder Scrolls. But everyone said they don't want to play Elder Scrolls because it's shit. You know what I mean? You know, that's what's holding people more than the good content of World of Warcraft. It's the investment in time. It's the investment in money. It's the fear that if you leave it, you've just wasted your life. That's what it is. It's fear. It's the fear of leaving such a solidly invested character. That's most likely the true reason behind that. So yeah, content-wise, we do not know. Regularity-wise, we do not know. One thing he did say was he thinks that that raids patches should be around for about 4 or 5 months. That's the kind of lifespan of a raid patch. I think he's about right. I think he's about right with that. I think there should be 3 patches a year, one every 4 months, 4, 8, 12. I think 1 patch every 4 months is fine. I think 2 raid patches a year is, or at least 2, you know, every other patch is a raid patch. So I think you should be looking at about 6 patches per 2-year expansion, with 3 of those being raid patches, and the other 3 being probably high content story driven patches as well. So, you know, the length of time of Warlords, we do not know. I'm willing to bet the farm it'll be 2 years. No, Blizzard can make an official statement right now and say Warlords is going to last 12 to 14 months, then we're going to have a new expansion, and I would still only hear 2 years. Honest to God, I wouldn't believe a fucking word of it. Would not believe a word of it. It would be, oh, we had every intention. Because 2 years later, then we'd get the new expansion, and all we'd hear is, we had the intention of making it 12 to 14 months, but we couldn't. That's all I would get from it. Garrisons. There was a little bit of chat about Garrisons too. I personally really like Garrisons. I'm a big fan of Garrisons. I think there's a really interesting concept there. I definitely think there are some areas they can improve upon. I think that we need more building space. I'm not happy with just 7 buildings, 2 bigs, 2 mediums, 3 smalls. I think there should be more choice about what we can pop down there. There certainly seems to be the room to do it, so I can't see why not. I love being a commander. I love finding followers. I've thoroughly enjoyed going out into the world, doing quests, doing this, doing that, doing the other, finding followers to come back to my garrison and be a part of my garrison, and then send them on the way and do quests from their command table. I've loved that. Loved it. I thought it's been awesome fun. So I think there's oodles of potential there with making garrisons an intrinsic part. And I really like the fact that I have my own mini quest hub. And I really like the fact that I don't have to go to fucking Ashran because it's a piece of shit. So I really like that kind of element about it too. So I'm a big fan of garrisons. They have, again, maybe we've thought about it, maybe. Was the word from Tom when they said, are we going to look at potentially going to level 4 with garrisons? You can only go to 3 levels at the minute. And they go, maybe. So when they say maybe, you just immediately switch off your ears because whatever's going to come out after maybe is going to be bullshit. But I think that garrisons has a lot of potential attached to it. And I also think if they support the shit out of garrisons, it could be really good. If they don't support garrisons, it's going to get pretty dull pretty quick. It's going to become Tiller's Farm. Great concept, great idea, oodles of fun to begin with, and then you realise after about 4 weeks it's really boring because there's nowhere else to go with it. That will be garrisons if they do not support it. Now, good God, after 26 minutes, these things normally end after about 30 minutes. After 26 minutes, let's get to the huge elephant in the room, which is the final boss. So, spoilers here, folks. And they were asking Tom about the final boss of Warlords of Draenor. And the guy said, is it going to be Grom? And Tom said, yes. And the way that he said it didn't come across like a joke or anything like that whatsoever. He said in 6.0 you mean? And the guy's like, no. He's like, no. He said in 6.0 it's not. It's going to be Blackhand. At the end boss on the final raid, yes, it's going to be Grom. And my heart sank. Just absolutely sank. And I'll tell you why. Number one, we've just fought fucking Garrosh in Mists of Pandaria, for God's sake. Final boss in Mystic Pandaria, an orc, Garrosh. Now, you're telling me that the end boss in the very next expansion is his dad. That is not progression, that is regression. One thing about Warlords of Draenor, which I was always a little bit concerned about, was the orc-centric nature of it. But then I had what I thought was a flash of inspiration, and I was like, oh, silly. Silly, they're playing you. I thought we were being played here. I was like, yes, it's Warlords of Draenor, and we're going up against these orcs. It's now World of Orccraft. It's not orcs versus humans anymore. It's orc. But I was like, no. It's a trap. They're luring me into a trap. Because we're going to be out there, we're going to be smacking orc dick around the place, and then a year into the expansion, halfway into the expansion, boom! The Burning Legion invade. They invade en masse. Yes, there's certain pockets of the Burning Legion in Warlords of Draenor at the moment, but this is where they just come in en masse. Auchendow, boom, explodes, and a colossal Burning Legion portal is there, and they are pouring out. Absolutely pouring out. And then suddenly, you got the Horde and the Alliance that don't even trust each other, are like, oh shit. You've got the Iron Horde who are fighting against the Alliance and the Horde, are just like, whoa. Are we even fighting the right enemy here? And then you have this massive kind of like dilemma, and you've got this status quo which has been completely flipped on its head. And you're just like, then you've got, I was hoping we were going to have, hopefully, Blackhand dead, Kargath dead, potentially Nazul dead, Kilrog dead, Gul'dan, maybe all the shitholes of the Orc War, all the bastards who we know are not good, got rid of. Maybe keep Gul'dan alive because that guy is just like gold. And then you've got like Durotan, who's good, and then we've got Grom, who's conflicted, and then they just like, fuck it, Alright, let's unite. And then you got the Iron Horde with the Horde and the Alliance, and then we're all just, all fucking having an orgy together going, yeah, let's hug it out. And then we just go boosh, balls deep into the Burning Legion fight. They've got this great sound. They've created Draenor from the ground up. It's not a reskin of Outland at all. It's been built from scratch, i.e. it's a fucking sandbox. They could blow the shit out of it should they want to. Ockendale, Shatrath, fucking overrun. Everything happening like that. It's just like Spazarak invaded, wiped out, Arakoa annihilated. And then we're just going pummeling in Iron Horde side by side with Alliance, side by side with regular Horde, and we are doing everything. Durotan fighting alongside Grom, Grom fighting alongside Varian, everything just really kicking off. No. No, I'm sorry, we can't have anything as imaginative as that. We just have to have Grom Hailscream's final boss. It's just the element, the disappointment elements are just colossal. Where is the progression? There isn't any. It's regression, as I've just mentioned before. You've got Grom, you've got Garrosh. What's the difference? One's got hair, one hasn't. You know what I mean? Grom himself is a fucking he's a hero guy. He's a massive... Warcraft 3. Grom freed his people. He defeated Manaroth on his own. Thrall was out. Threw Doomhammer. Manaroth fucking twatted Doomhammer away with his wings. Fuck you. Went in there, smacked Thrall's ass to one side. Thrall was out the game. Manaroth versus Grom. Grom freed his people from the corrupted, fell, tainted blood of Manaroth. Stuck Gorhal in his chest. Took him out. The guy you hear about Grom on Azeroth, his name is revered. Revered. He is a hero of the Horde people. And I wanted to see that hero alive in a different timeline, not the same person. I know the timelines have branched off, but I wanted to see that Grom return. I wanted to see that Grom eventually wrestled away from this conquest, wrestled away from that idea, wrestled away from that influence, and reclaim the fact that this guy is a fucking hero. Unite your Iron Horde under the banner against the Burning Legion. Unite with the Alliance. Unite with the regular Horde. And go for it. And claim Draenor. Rid the world of Draenor, of the Burning Legion. Claim that place as your own then. Have it, mate. Something like that. Something along those kind of lines. But to have the idea of Grom as the final boss of Warlords of Draenor is just nothing shy of depressing. I don't care if he's fell corrupted. I don't give a fuck if he's shard corrupted. It just doesn't work for me on any sort of level. Personally, I thought we were going to go battle to the death with Kill Jaden. I thought we were going to finish the business of Sunwell Plateau. I thought this time it was going to be like a Firelands Raggy, he ain't getting away. You ain't getting... We're not banishing you this time. We're fucking ending you this time. That's what I thought. Something along those kind of lines. A big lieutenant, a big general, never mind lieutenant, a big general of the Burning Legion was going to be the final boss. Setting up maybe an expansion a couple of times, a couple of expansions in the future with Sargeras being a big bad guy, and then we've of course got the Titanate one. Brain farting. But I just hope that Tom, due to the fact that he does come across as so devoid of enthusiasm, personality, and all that kind of stuff, I just hoped it was Tom's idea of a joke, but it really didn't come across that way. It really felt like he was saying, no, in 6.0, he's not going to be the final boss, because that's Blackhand, but yes, he will be the final boss of the final raid. Oh, man. No. That has actually really turned me off Warlords of Draenor. And I've loved what I played so far. I've loved the levelling up. I thought the levelling up has been the best levelling up the World of Warcraft has ever done. Ever done. The problem is leveling takes 4 to 5 days and the expansions last for 2 years. So the leveling could be as fun as a box of frogs, but it's all about the end game content. It's all about then the raiding and what you do with your time after that. The only criticism I have of the leveling up is there's no choice. Again, you got all these massive zones, and yet there's no choice that you go, right, I don't want to go to Nagran to level up. I want to go to Spars of Iraq to level up. You know what I mean? That's the only problem I have, is that lack of choice. But other than that, it's been awesome fun. So to think, right, it's going to take me 4 to 5 days to get to level 100 with my main character. Then I've got all the endgame content, and I've got to wait until I get to Grom at the very final boss of the final. Oh no! I sincerely hope that it was Tom's idea of a joke, a deadpan joke that just didn't work, that just didn't go right, you know. But we'll have to see. We will just have to see. So yeah, Grom Hellscreen, final boss, Warlords of Draenor. What's your thoughts on it? Are you excited? Not excited? Think it's bullshit? Think it's great news? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I sincerely hope that you enjoyed the vid. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and twitch.tv/HeelvsBabyface for live Warlords of Draenor beta streaming. And I shall be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.